One of the most significant changes in the uniform guidance was an increased emphasis on internal controls, and in some respects, in some areas, a decrease in prescriptive step-by-step types of instructions for us. The uniform guidance information on internal controls is primarily in section 303, where it talks about that the institution has to establish and maintain effective internal controls over federal awards. So that goes on then to talk about the standards for internal control in the federal government document, and also the Committee of Sponsoring Organizations, or COSO as it's usually referred to, their internal control framework. The way that's worded in the guidance really says we should, which we've been told means must, use those, but there was fortunately a frequently asked question that was issued later that said, no, those were really just meant to be examples, and as long as you can demonstrate that you do have effective internal controls, that's what really matters. So, when it comes down to it at my institution, we've definitely tried to make sure as we're revising policies and forms and procedures that we always have internal controls in mind. Mm-hmm. We're not going to make any change that's going to, cause an internal control to go away that we don't have a mitigating control somewhere to take its place. The other thing that I've been starting to give some thought to is what will my single auditors be looking at going forward? What will their expectations be? So, fortunately, my institution has had financial and NA 133 audits every year since I've been there and before, and internal control evaluation is part of that. As a matter of fact, when Sarbanes-Oxley was implemented, they said, well, even though that doesn't really apply to you, the principles really still should. And I remember us really going through a lot more documentations, providing them with narratives about exactly what our controls were in the various areas. So I'm fairly confident that my A133 auditors are going to take that and say, yeah, we've been evaluating your internal controls for years. There's not a problem there. And if I'm wrong and they think that there's some things that we need to be doing differently, or they want to see anything more specific, then that should come up in the entrance conference to the 15-16 fiscal year audit.